So through this entire pandemic, we've been very focused on how we are doing, us adults, us parents. What about the kids? How are they handling this? Well, let's get into that right now. Thank you for coming back for another episode this week. So I've been doing some episodes about how I'm doing and how I'm actually coping through the situation with the pandemic. I get to work from home, which is a great blessing. I'm doing my workouts from home, another great blessing. And there's so many great things that are happening for me, and I've had a great positive attitude, and I've actually been holding up pretty well mentally. What about the kids? How are the kids doing? And it's interesting because the perspectives that we get, we have to kind of take a pause and think about it. I've thought back in the past for myself. What was the biggest events that I remember growing up that affected, or that I remember very vividly from when they happened? And there were two that come to mind. The first one was the Reagan assassination attempt. That I remember that, in school, I think in third grade maybe, and I remember being told by my teachers what was going on and then going home and seeing it on the news. The Challenger disaster, I remember very vividly. I was a freshman in high school, and during that time I was actually staying late after school for, I think, maybe basketball practice or something. And I was in the library, and it was on the TV constantly. They replayed it, and they were doing commentary and discussions about it. And then the Reagan speech came on at that time. I remember that very vividly. Later on, it was 9/11, but I was an adult then, and so I remember those experiences very vividly. So I think about my kids, and I'm like, what have my children experienced that would be the equivalent of any of that? And honestly, this is really not even the equivalent of any of those experiences I've had. Even 9/11, it's not quite to that level. This is beyond that. This is something none of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. You have to go back probably 100 years or more for those individuals who did that, and those people are not alive anymore. So how are our kids dealing with this? Well, I can tell you from experience here with my children, there's mixed results. My oldest is doing really well, and I'm very proud of her. She's 17, and she's doing extraordinarily well with that. She lost her job, unfortunately, because the place she was working for closed down permanently. So she lost her job permanently. So she'll have to find another job once the economy starts picking up again. My younger kids, the two that I have that are going to school, they're struggling with school itself. They're having a really hard time with the work, due to school at home. But they're different. They have different issues. One has the issue of they need their friends. And then the other one is, I'm fine without my friends. I'll just seclude. And it's, the problem is these issues are having an impact on their schoolwork. Their inability to socialize or to get the social needs that they have, whether they admit it or not, they're having trouble with that. So I've seen my kids' grades suffer because they're having trouble focusing, and they're having trouble sticking to the routine, and it's really affecting them. So my toddlers are actually, they're not noticing anything except that they get frustrated because we're in the house a lot because it's been raining here in North Texas a lot and the weather's been bad. So what I've been doing is I've been putting a lot more focus on my kids lately to help them get what they need to be mentally able to handle what's going on. We're not shutting them out from what's happening in the world. We're keeping them apprised of what's happening. This is something they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. So it's a matter of how we deal with it as a family that they'll remember, and they'll be able to replicate this when something like this happens in their families later on in their lives. Because it will happen. It's just a cyclical thing. history repeats itself. There will be another event similar. So I've been, spending time with my oldest son with models, trying to help him do some model building, which is great. We've also been doing some movie nights here at home. I'm spending time with my kids doing things at the park. This past weekend we went and flew a kite and did that. That was a lot of fun. I'm giving my kids more attention than I normally would, a lot more, because they need it. They need to know everything's okay, and it's going to be okay. They just need to see that, and they need to know it. And I encourage you to do the same thing. If you have kids at home, if your kids say they're fine, make sure of that. And even if they are fine, give them some extra time, give them some extra attention. Their mental health, they don't know what to make of this. This is beyond even our comprehension. Include them in it. Make sure that they're a part of the discussion, but also take their minds off of it and show them everything is okay. I have to suppress some of my concerns about what's going on in the world from them. And I am worried, but not that worried. And I do reflect that to them, and they pick up on that and they see it. Folks, this is a tough time, and even the kids are going to have a really tough time about it. And so make sure to give them that focus that they need, because they're going to need you to get through this. You got to be able to give them the tools that they need to mentally build up a wall of strength to be able to withstand these challenges, and give them the love that they need at this time as well. That is really important. Speaking of which, I love all of you guys. You guys are really awesome. Thank you for watching my channel. And hey, subscribe and like. Hey, do both. Do both. I need subscriptions and I need likes. I need to get more of that, and that really helps me out with trying to get more people watching the channel. And hey, if you missed an episode, there's another one over here. Maybe you might be able to catch that while you got a moment. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.